Welcome back to Coffee and Conversation. And guess who realized I was about to start a video? Oh yes, you want to come on? Let's say hi. No. All right, fine. We don't want to say hi right now. I think what he is expressing is all the attention should be on a cat. But yeah, I don't know how he figures it out, but he really can just home in on the fact that I am about to make a video, therefore I really need to fuss over a cat. I don't know if you can see this, when I'm not petting him enough, he starts nuzzling into my neck to remind me that a cat is here. It's a very cute little behavior, which is why I haven't strangled him for it. So, before we get started, and while we have Audie, who is doing his best to distract me, I wanted to share with you something that is going on right in Colleen's backyard. Now, Colleen, for those of you who don't know, perhaps the name is ringing a bell. She is one of the SueMe's angels. There are 4 of them. And these are the people who maintain the SueMe's Angels Facebook group. And on top of everything they're doing for the Facebook group, these are the folks who manage things like our giveaways. Bless their hearts, because believe me, if it was up to me, I would still be neck deep in giveaway merchandise, and none of it would be giving away because I just have no skills for that. All right, I'm going to put you down if you're just going to be irritable. All right. I'm not going to do that. Now he's purring. I am going to stop for a moment. I will be right back, but I'm going to have to bribe him with cat treats. So, back to my story about Colleen. She lives in Dayton, Ohio, and not too far from her in Ohio, there is a small town called Beaver Creek. That's the name of the town. And a large chain called Buc-ee's has moved into the area, and Buc-ee's has a beaver as its logo. Well, so does Beaver Creek's little mini mart, Beavers. And they are being sued by Buc-ee's, which is a tremendously well-heeled corporation. These people have deep pockets. But the little Beaver mini mart, not quite so much. Oh yeah, company is back. Not quite so much. This is just a little mom and pop store. And they are being sued because Buc-ee's is claiming that it's copyright infringement. That somehow they own the rights to every logo of a cartoon beaver ever created. Well, the story's gotten national news. Colleen sent me some information on this. It's gotten national news, and there are 2 sides to the story. I want to be fair, and I want to tell you both sides. There is an article in the video notes, and this is from the Dayton newspaper. So this is Colleen's regular newspaper in her area. Here's the thing. On one hand, this little store, Beaver's Mini Mart, has been using this logo. They are no threat to Buc-ee's, this major chain. The names are not even close. Beaver's Mini Mart, Buc-ee's, no, come on. What, they both have B's in them? But they both have cartoon beaver logos. Not the same cartoon beaver logo. On the other hand, like I said, I want to be fair. How many different ways can you draw a cartoon beaver? Obviously, there are going to be similarities. So, of course, Buc-ee's is suing. Now, Buc-ee's does need to make some effort to enforce its copyright if it wants to retain the trademark for this logo. I get that. You can't just trademark your logo and then not attempt to enforce your ownership if other people are infringing on it. Is this little mini mart infringing on their logo? I don't think so. And Furthermore, I would say there are many, many ways Buc-ee's could have approached the little mini-mart. Remember, the mini-mart was there first, then Buc-ee's moves in. Many ways they could have approached the mini-mart that would have retained their full rights, Buc-ee's full rights, to their logo. Just worked out some sort of agreement with the mini-mart, an amicable solution that would allow the little mini-mart to continue to use its logo while acknowledging that it is somewhat similar to Buc-ee's logo. There are many ways this could be done. And Buc-ee's has the legal staff to work something like this out. But this was not their opening salvo. Their opening salvo is, "We are suing you." So it's gotten national attention. When Colleen told me about the story, and I realized how up in arms the local people are, warms my little 60s counterculture heart to see the population rising up against the man, or in this case, the Buc-ee's. But what I did was I made a donation to the GoFundMe account that is helping this little mini-mart's legal fund. And the donation was made on behalf of the entire channel. This is from the SueMe community, because frankly, I think it's a good cause. And it's not an issue of free speech. It's not an issue of breaking copyright or trademark protections. I do believe people are entitled to protect their intellectual property. I do understand that businesses need to protect their trademarks, because as a consumer, if I go into the store and buy like an Oreo, I want to know I'm getting an Oreo and not some weird clone product that won't taste like an Oreo, even though it may look like one. So I understand that trademarks, logos, copyrights, I get that. It should be protected. I do not oppose that. I oppose Buc-ee's heavy-handed approach to the situation. As I said, many ways they could have worked this out where everyone would be happy, and Buc-ee still could have protected their rights to their trademark. It didn't have to go down like this. What I object to is when a major national company with virtually bottomless pockets goes up against a small mom-and-pop store and uses the threat of lawsuit to bully them into submission, knowing full well this mom-and-pop store cannot possibly afford to mount a legal defense against claims brought by a company of this size. So, yeah, this is just a David and Goliath situation for me, and I would like to see the odds leveled a bit. But that doesn't mean I'm against trademarks. It doesn't mean I'm against... I don't even know Buc-ee's. It's not in my area. This is a chain of... they're like gas station mini-mart sort of things, and they're in another part of the country. Well, I'm in Pennsylvania, they're in Ohio, so next door, but they're not in my neighborhood. So I'm not familiar with them at all. I did want to share this with you because there are a lot of things that people are getting angry about in this case. You know, Beaver Mart was there first. They are in Beaver Creek. It is logical and natural for them to use a beaver logo for their little mini mart. Many other businesses in Beaver Creek use little cartoon beaver logos. You know, Buc-ee's moved in on them. It wasn't the other way around. How much confusion could there be in the marketplace between Beaver's mini mart and Buc-ee's massive? Apparently, these are just huge convenience type gas station, like 7-Eleven on steroids. That seems to be what it is. How much marketplace confusion can there be? There are a lot of reasons that people can be irritated about this. For me, I'm backing David in this fight because we all know that even though it may be an unfair fight, that doesn't mean the little guy is wrong. And it certainly doesn't mean the little guy does not deserve his day in court and should not be beaten into submission by the fact that Buc-ee's has enough money to bury them. So, just saying, and this is not a solicitation for any of you to make donations to the GoFundMe. Obviously, you can if you want to. I certainly wouldn't complain, but I have done so on behalf of the channel because this is, gosh, the little guy being oppressed by the big guy. Boy, this is right in our wheelhouse on this channel. So I wanted to share that with you, especially because it touches a member of our community, in fact, a prominent member of our community in a very real way. This is her neighborhood. These are her stores. So thank you for indulging me. We are going to take a quick break for the intro, and we will be right back. So, I thought we would talk about fabric care today. And there are a couple of reasons I wanted to throw this out to you. One, frankly, in my area, we have been having a pretty gosh darn warm summer, which means that thermoregulating fabrics are going to be very, very useful to us. And two, I review products. If I buy something and they will give me a vehicle through which I can leave a review, I am on that like you would not believe. And frankly, it's because I'm in love with my own opinions and naturally assume everybody else will be. But I do a lot of reviews for Amazon. I've always done that, mostly because I do shopping on Amazon and I use reviews when I'm making a purchase. And as you all know, because I've spoken about this before, Amazon invited me to join their Vine program where they give me free stuff and I review it. And the reason I mention this is because I do have a lot of reviews available online. And among the most popular reviews are the ones in which I post fabric care information. So I will be reviewing a wool shirt, for example, and then I will throw in a few lines about how to care for wool. And I do that because I've gotten all kinds of fabric, shoe care tips. Oh my, I get shoe care tips from other people's reviews. I get all kinds of information like this from other reviewers, so I want to return the favor. Now, that's sort of the background. Given the fact that we've been having an excruciatingly hot summer, and you know this because I've been making videos on days when it is over 100 degrees, but even normally here where I am in south central Pennsylvania, 90 degrees in the summer is not unusual. In fact, it's normal. Keep in mind, I come from New England, and when I was in Providence, the city workers would get, the ones who worked outdoors, I have to be clear about that, would get the day off with pay when the temperature hit 90 degrees. So I come from an area that just did not do anything to get me accustomed to 90-degree heat. Consequently, I have a couple of fabrics that I will use in the summer. Linen is on the top of my list. I live in linen in the summer, not the, the wrinkly kind that requires so much care, but linen jersey, which is very easy to care for, but not the subject of this video. I'll save that for another video. Also, silk. So this is 100% silk. It's a navy t-shirt. It may look black. I don't know. I have a lot of trouble telling black from navy. Anyway, I don't know if your monitor is showing it, but it is a navy silk t-shirt. And this is mulberry silk, and that's a long fiber silk. Well, long fiber. The threads from the silkworm cocoon that they harvest to make the silk, they can get very, very long threads. So, yeah, I want to be clear. It's not the same way that long staple fibers from cotton are long. It's just longer filaments used to make the garment. Consequently, even on a t-shirt which has a jersey weave to it, it's very, very much inclined to be shiny. It's very smooth. You can just, you can watch a drop of water just run down the shirt and not penetrate until it gets somewhere near the hem. So I use silk a lot in the summer, but in the winter too. Again, thermoregulating, so it's very good in winter, it's very good in summer. But today, we were up to 90 degrees around noon, and then it rained, bringing us down into the 70s. And silk is perfect for these hot temperature fluctuations, because if it goes down into the 60s, which is unlikely today, but if it does, the silk will keep me warm. Just saying, that's why it's my second favorite summer fabric. But when you say silk to people, they start to think, dry cleaning bills. Not true. Most silk garments that are available to you today are washable. Now, having said that, I do want to pull back and say your silk garments might be dry clean only pieces. If they are, this information is not for you. Most of my silk items are perfectly washable, either in the machine. I will wash this in the machine. We'll get into that in a moment. Or by hand, although I do have a few pieces that, because they are hand dyed, the dyes might run, so they will be dry cleaned. But I don't wear those every day, fortunately. Most silk is just as easy to care for, even more so than a fabric like cotton. In fact, I would go so far as to say this shirt, in terms of care, probably on a par with polyester. That's how easy to care for it is. So how do you wash silk garments? For me, if I can put it in the machine, I will. I will put it into a garment bag, a mesh garment bag, turn it inside out, stuff it in the garment bag, very often with other items that are just going to be washed in there. I don't pull these aside, wash them separately. I don't pamper them like that. What I won't do is I won't throw them in the clothes dryer. So when they are washed, and by the way, if I'm washing it in the machine, I'm using regular laundry detergent. I use Ivory Snow, which is a detergent that is very hard to come by. Last time I got Ivory Snow, I had to buy it from Canada because I'm just not finding it here anymore. But it is, I don't even know why I'm telling you this. You all will remember this from the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. It was what we used to wash baby diapers. So I'm fine with that. Would I get a special silk laundry soap? Well, I have one in my laundry cabinet because someone gave me a little bottle as a gift. Very kind of them. And is that what I will use? No. If I'm not going to use regular laundry detergent, if I'm just going to wash it out in the sink, my product of choice is baby shampoo. And it doesn't even have to be a name brand. You can go in and get, like Kroger's baby shampoo or Walmart's brand of baby shampoo. But it'll work just fine. So you don't have to spend a lot of money to dry clean. You don't have to spend a lot of money on fancy silk-only shampoos or detergents, You don't have to spend a lot of money on silk-only detergents. You can throw it in with some baby shampoo. If you don't have baby shampoo, hand soap. It's not picky about the soap. I would not wash silk in very hot water. And by the way, the reason for that is primarily because of the dyes that they use. A color like this, which is quite dark, I would be concerned that washing it in hot water would encourage that dye to leach out of the shirt and into the general wash water. But that's the main reason. I don't dry them. Comes out of the washer, I put it on a hanger. I don't need to iron it. If I do that, all the wrinkles just magically fall out. Very, very easy to care for. Now, if you have items that are silk that need to be dry cleaned, and you don't want to dry clean it, and I get that because it can be expensive, you can use the same dry cleaning chemicals that your professional dry cleaner will use if you want to remove a spot or something. Absolutely. But again, subject for another video because that is a very detailed process. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. We'll talk about that. But I wanted to assure you, easy care. And there's no reason to be afraid of silk. One of the great things these days, and this was not true years ago, is improved manufacturing techniques and improved silkworm culture. And the silkworm culture is mostly in Asia. Improved manufacturing techniques combined with that enhanced production has resulted in a significant drop in the price of silk. This shirt, I'm pretty sure I paid somewhere between $25 and $30 for this. I will look up the price and list it on the video, but not that expensive. And let's face it, any one of us could go out, easily spend $25 on a t-shirt and not feel like we were getting ripped off. I mean, I wouldn't want to, but I could see myself doing it under the right circumstances. So now silk is affordable. And it's not just the affordability that makes it so good. As I say, thermoregulating, so I use this in the summer. It's one of my go-to summer fabrics. But in the winter, I will wear this shirt just like an undershirt. Throw something over it. And if I throw something over it, the silk will serve to trap the heat. In the summer, it's serving exactly the opposite purpose because it is breathing. So it's releasing the heat. In the winter, it keeps the heat right in. So that's why this is one of my favorite fabrics. But I know that so many of us are just overwhelmed by the idea that silk, my goodness, I'm going to have it dry cleaned. It's so fragile. This is not fragile. This performs like a t-shirt. So it's not something that you have to be super careful of. And in fact, you saw earlier on, I had a cat with his claws in my shoulder before. I am not really concerned about that because if you have, by the way, I'm not advocating. If you have a nice silk piece, do not let your cat climb you up like a jungle gym. But I'm not really concerned about it because Audie has spent enough time on my silk t-shirts so that I know that he's not going to shred it just by sitting on my shoulder. It is not that fragile. It is not that delicate. So that is what I wanted to share with you. I wanted you all to understand, essentially, that silk, oh, silk is your friend. And because we are able to get more silk today at better prices than we could have gotten 30, 40 years ago. I can remember 40 years ago silk being a genuine luxury. And now it's t-shirt fabric. Hey, I don't want you to be discouraged from buying it and using it, because you can get some really, really good pieces. Now, I watch for sales, but you know that. So I can get things very inexpensively just by watching sales, by tracking certain manufacturers and waiting, and then pouncing like a hungry vulture. But it's very easy to do this. And there's no reason not to. Certainly not simply because you believe silk is too hard to care for. So, what do we need to wash silk? If you're doing it in the laundry, use a mesh garment bag. I would recommend that for any fabric other than blue jeans, frankly. Most of my clothing goes into mesh garment bags, just saying. But you need a mesh garment bag. You're going to want to turn it inside out. You're going to want to wash it in anywhere from cool to warm water, somewhere in that range, around that middle ground. So cool is fine, not ice cold, because you want to get some cleaning done, and certainly not hot because you don't want the color leaching out all over the place. And whatever detergent you like. I like Ivory Snow, but if you don't have that detergent, you can use anything. I have used Tide or whatever else. Oh, on the rare occasions when I have run out of laundry detergent, I got no problem throwing a squirt of Dawn dishwashing liquid into my washing machine. By the way, I wouldn't do more than a squirt because Dawn will bubble up rather a lot, and you don't really want that. But just squirt of Dawn, I'm fine with it. So yeah, I'll wash it in anything that comes to hand as far as detergents go. Take it out, shake it out, put it on a hanger, come back, and you're done. I have very few silk pieces that I have ever ironed at all, and most of those are vintage blouses, tops, usually something from the 70s or 80s. And I will have to iron those because they are not mulberry silk like this. They are usually made from shorter fibers that tend to keep the wrinkles, and they're less likely to release them in the drying process. So yes, I have had to iron a few pieces, but the vast majority, even my silk scarves, I don't iron them. No. And those things, yeah, they're more expensive than those little vintage blouses I fuss over. So it's not a high maintenance fabric, no matter what anyone says. And remember, I'm talking about washable silk. I am not talking about silk where the manufacturer is telling you to dry clean it, because there could be a great many reasons for that. And again, we can talk about whether or not you can do this at home, whether or not you should be able to test out your fabrics to determine if that manufacturer's note about dry cleaning is really valid, because I got a lot of stuff where the manufacturer says dry clean only, and it goes into my washer and it comes out fine. So we can certainly talk about that if you're interested in it. All right, that is what I have for you. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for indulging my little rant about Buc-ee's. The truth of the matter is, I don't think they are behaving properly. I really don't. So thank you for indulging that. We are going to take a look at a slideshow on the way out. I hope to see you again next time. And in the meanwhile, have a terrific day.